Good morning, and it's your girl Anastasia Daniel from HERTRIBE Global. How are you, and how is everybody doing today? Yeah, today is Tuesday. Today is Wednesday. Oh my God, I almost said today's Tuesday. Today is Wednesday, and our topic for today is called Women and Pride. Confidence without losing humility. Confidence without losing humility. Today we're going to be talking about something powerful, but also very delicate. Yes, it's powerful, but at the same time, it's very delicate. Now, when you talk about pride, how do you see pride? Or what do you think of it? Like just out of the blue, just out of your mind, just tell me. You know, this thing they call pride it can be a strength. It can also be a weakness. It's not every pride that is bad though. Yes, pride can be both a strength and it can also be a weakness. It all depends on how it is expressed. Yes. All right, now let's look at the positive side of pride. And the positive side of pride, the kind of pride I call healthy pride. Okay? Now, everybody will get ready for me today. Say, this girl has come again. I want you to just listen. What is healthy pride? Healthy pride can be described as number one, self-respect. You having self-respect, having self-value. It can also be seen as confidence. It can also be seen as knowing your worth. It can also be described as you taking pride in your growth and your achievements. Don't forget that. A woman with healthy pride carries herself with dignity. She does not settle for less. She values herself. She celebrates her progress. You understand? If you read the Proverbs chapter 31, verse 25, it also says she's clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come, depending on how the translation you are using. This type of woman is someone that is confident and she's secured. You understand? But that kind of pride, you're not going to call it a negative pride. Do you understand? It's a healthy kind of pride. All right. Now let's talk about the negative side of pride. Now, I call the negative side of pride the unhealthy pride. Yes, unhealthy pride is when, you know, your ego takes over you. Yes, you feel superior than as into others. You feel like you're better than everybody else. Nobody can talk to me. Nobody can put me down. I am this. I am that. You reject correction. You refuse to grow. You become defensive and arrogant. This kind of pride can quietly destroy anything. When I mean anything, I mean your relationship with people, your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with friends. It can destroy opportunities that come your way. It can be a contract, it can be job opportunities, it can be any kind of opportunity. It can also destroy personal growth. Now, if we read Proverbs chapter 6, verse 18, it says, pride goes before destruction. Some translation will say, pride goes before a fall. You understand? But if you go further, I said, a haughty spirit before a fall. Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. When you have time, please read Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18. I think I said 6 before. It's Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18. Pride goes before destruction. All right? Now, how can this thing we call pride, how can it actually affect a woman? Healthy pride. Everything can affect person, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Just so you know, but they affect you differently. Just like yesterday, we talked about the mental aspect of what were we talking about yesterday? Mental aspect of daily habits. So today we also have that. You get mentally healthy pride. it will still give you confidence, gives you clarity emotionally. It also gives you self-worth and peace. Spiritually, it gives you, you are grateful to God. You show gratitude to God, and what's it called, in your relationship, you create respect and boundaries when you have healthy pride. But unhealthy pride, if mentally affects you negatively, what do I mean? You live in denial. You are defensive, okay? Emotionally, it affects your insecurity. You become insecure. Yeah, the insecurity will not hide behind every of your ego. You understand? Spiritually, you are self-dependent on yourself, and you're far away from God. In your relationship, it creates conflict, and it also will disconnect you with people, with your spouse, with your friends. Do you get? You understand? Now, some of the examples, I put out some examples from the Bible that people have exhibited positive pride and negative pride, and how it have affected them. Now, let's take example the negative pride. If we read Daniel chapter 4, from verse 30 to 31, it talks about that king called King Nebuchadnezzar. He was prideful. Do you understand? He became proud of the power that God has given to him. He was a king. He had the power to do anything, but he allowed pride to take the better part of him. He became so proud of his power, became proud of his too proud of his success. And guess what God did to him? God humbled him. How did God humble him? 7 years of being a beast. God turned him into an animal. Like he was in the bush eating grass. A king was humbled from his throne down to the grass, like the bush. He was eating grass for 7 years. God wanted to teach him a lesson. God wanted to let him know that he is God. Do you understand? In that Bible verse, Daniel chapter 4, from verse 30 to 31, the lesson we'll learn from that verse is that pride without humility will definitely lead to a downfall. Pride without humility will lead to downfall. Now, let's look at the positive example in the Bible about pride and humility. We talk about Jesus. Jesus in the Bible showed us it displayed, he was a pure example of being humble. He was a pure example of, teaching about humility, teaching about power, Jesus had all the power to do everything because he was the Son of God. But guess what? He was humble. He showed humility with power. Even with all the authority that Jesus had, Jesus walked in humility. If you read, let's check Philippians chapter 2, verse 3. The Bible tells us, it says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. I will repeat that. Philippians chapter 2, verse 3 says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. What is the lesson in this Bible passage? The lesson there is true strength is found in humility. Being humble or having humility or displaying the spirit of humility does not make you a fool. A lot of people will see humble people as fools, but my dear sisters, you are not a fool. In your humility, that's where you show true strength. Okay? Now, so how can we manage pride? As women, how can we manage pride so that this pride thing does not affect us negatively? How do we do that? Here is how to stay balanced with pride. Number one, stay grounded in God. Always remember where your strength and your blessings come from. If you read Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18, it says, it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. Nothing comes from our hand. Everything comes from God. Okay? So number one, stay grounded in God. Number two, be open to growth. How do you become open to growth? You learn to accept corrections and feedback from others. Don't take it as an insult. Don't take it, those, even if they behind their feedback there is something, it doesn't matter. The most important thing is you are open to growing, you are open to learning, you are open to being better. Okay, because when you accept correction, when you take feedback positively, you know what it does? It helps you grow. All right. Number three, practice gratitude. For 3 days now, I've talked about this gratitude. Gratitude is key. Practice gratitude. Do you know what gratitude does to you? Gratitude keeps pride from turning into arrogance. Yes, when you show gratitude, it will not make any other person see you as being arrogant, because you see that thing they call pride. It depends on how you express it. Okay. Number 4, balance confidence with humility. Balance your confidence with humility. You can know your worth without looking down on others. Yes, I am confident in myself. My name is Anastasia Daniel. I know my worth. I value myself. I carry myself with pride. But I don't have to look down on others to do all that. The moment you start looking down on others, it becomes an unhealthy pride. All right. Number 5, reflect regularly. Reflect regularly. What does it mean? Ask yourself questions regularly. Am I walking in confidence, or am I allowing my ego to take the better part of me? Ask yourself these questions regularly. Now, before we go, I have a short affirmation for you. I want you to say, I remain teachable, I am growing, and I am graceful. It's very short and it's very simple. Please say this. I remain teachable, I am growing, and I am graceful. Before we go, I have some things for you. You were not created to shrink yourself. Remember that. But at the same time, you were not also created to elevate yourself above others. Even if you're better than them in finances, maybe you are richer than them, maybe you have a better job than them, maybe you are more healthy than them, maybe to some extent God has put you a little bit above them. It is not your place. You are not created to elevate yourself above others. Okay? Remember, confidence makes you stand tall. Humility is what keeps you standing strong. All right? The most powerful women, in our world, it's usually not the loudest. The most powerful women, they are usually not the loudest. She is the most grounded. You understand? So what are we going to do this today? We are going to walk in confidence. We are going to stay humble, and what we are going to keep growing. All right? And I remain your girl Anastasia Daniel from HERTRIBE Global. Have an amazing Wednesday. I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.